Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of YF Dizzy TV. It's a wonderful day. It is December 1st. I'm in here live, you know what I'm saying? Because we all know December is the best month of the year. But in here with me today is my boy, a veteran. Well, would you be considered a veteran?
I personally would not consider myself a veteran, but
until after.
I would just say active duty service member.
Active duty service member, an intelligent human being, a spiritual man. My co-host for today. What up, Jay King?
Hello.
Tell the people your name and what you be doing.
My name is Jared King, a longtime friend for this guy. We went to college together. We played football against each other in high school. Mm-hmm. So we go way back. After college, I took the military route. Shout out to the Air Force, all my airmen out there.
Oh yeah.
Y'all know what we do. We get out there and we get busy.
Yeah, man. So, did you see that fight?
Of course, I saw the fight.
And now, first, let's talk about Nate Robinson.
Oh yeah,
I had hope for my boy.
Everybody did. Like he's a highly regarded athlete, but the fact of the matter is he did not prepare how he was supposed to prepare,
and that was evident. Fight. Yeah, that was evident. That
was very evident.
He was rushing from the moment it started.
And then when he didn't know what else to do, he had to grab him.
Yep. And it looked like he didn't have like proper training coming up. Like he probably did good cardio and weightlifting and whatever he needed to do, but he didn't really have somebody to coach him.
Oh yeah, cause think about it. He got hit the first time, went down. He got up, and that was the first knockdown was a solid blow. So that even so that could have been a first round KO.
Yeah.
But because of his athletic background, he was probably better suited to take a punch, but he didn't have any real way to avoid punches. That was a whole discrepancy. So and then after that second one, everybody's like this is not gonna look good.
Yeah, and I feel like you could tell he ain't really been sparring like that.
Mm-mm.
That's probably like the first time he done threw the mitts or anything, because the way that he was rushing is just, you don't even really see amateurs do it like that.
No, not at all. Like an amateur fighter, even though they're fighting for mostly like points, and they will try and go for a knockout, but amateurs they're trying to prove themselves pretty much.
Yeah,
they're trying to craft. So they go through the stages where they learn defensive counter punching, and then they work their offense when it's an opportunistic time, not just swinging for the fences, because that's how you burn yourself out in a fight.
Yeah.
Because I've actually been boxing, right?
Yeah.
So while I was deployed, the entire time we were there for our exercise and cardio, we were boxing. We had gloves and mitts and stuff sent out to us, and we even had a guy who boxed on the Air Force team. That was a security forces guy. He was training us up,
man.
And we were sparring with guys. We were sparring with Army guys, and Marine guys, whoever was out there willing to spar. And we're Air Force, so they try and they think we're soft. So
yeah. They call y'all the chair force, huh?
Yeah. Lack of chairs.
Oh man. But the worst part was the knockout, because it was back to back. It was like 2 within 1 minute.
Right.
Like at least back off a little bit. Like you already dizzy.
But that's what we saying. That's the athletic mindset in him. He's like, okay,
I got to get him back.
He's like, let me get right back in it. But that's not a boxer's strategy.
Yeah.
People think boxing is fighting. Boxing and fighting is two different things.
Yeah, it is.
Boxing is very technical.
Mm-hmm.
So
you looking for their foot placement, how they put in their hands, all that. So what'd you think of, Uncle Roy versus Uncle Tyson?
Say, Unc. Let me tell you something, Unc. Let me tell you something. Honestly, people were, bagging on the fight. But, man, if I seen my uncle right now getting into a fight, it wouldn't look like that.
Nah, it wouldn't.
he throw his hip out.
Nah, Tyson was in there actually throwing them hoes.
So let me tell you this about Tyson. Tyson looked a little under how you say underwhelmed.
Yeah,
not underwhelmed by the fight, but he was like he I feel like he was going for something bigger than
he wanted to fight.
Yeah,
he wasn't going for like the show.
No. And you could, like, they were talking about Roy Jones's conditioning. I think that definitely played a part in like how the fight was gonna go too. He wasn't gonna let Tyson get amped up because he got a few shots. So you seen where he kind of shuffled, he bop and then backed out.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get Tyson riled up.
Get him in there because he's not gonna win once they get in that hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Tyson was he was antsy. You see how he didn't want to sit down.
Yeah,
he was energized. Like he didn't have. He probably had a little bit more wind than Roy, but after that second round, he got a little winded too. So that they were, it was what I expected it to be. Yeah. I don't know what everybody else was expecting.
So, do you think Tyson's probably gonna do another one?
I think Tyson will probably try and do like another like a Legends League fight. With probably somebody else. They said he was supposed to get Evander Holyfield.
Man.
So Holyfield. He's definitely a better match than I'm not gonna say a better match than Roy Jones, but that it would be more of a.
It'd be closer in their classes because Roy Jones he's a little bit lighter than Mike his whole career, and it's just they're only around the same weight because they got that dad weight on them now.
And I think they just wanted to do that because of he said they wanted to do it like a while back, but they never got around to it. So
I think he's gonna do another one because he looked like he was in it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I definitely think. I think Tyson wants to try something. He's experimenting with something. He wanna try it out. Cause them training videos was no joke.
Oh man, that's crazy. So let me ask you, how was deployment? Because a lot of people don't know how deployment is. They just know that y'all go overseas. What was your day to day like when you was overseas?
Honestly, man, to put it plainly, like you're working like you are here in the United States. You're just in a different location. You know what I'm saying? As far as like being there, you're at a base camp that you have to pretty much build up, or if there's already set living space, then they set you up with living quarters, and then your day to day is just whatever the command says. Hey, we have some projects for you guys. They give us projects and stuff like that, and we go out and we execute on a different timeline. Do
you do the same job that you would be doing when you're here, or is it just whatever they need to be done over there?
Somewhat different. Is they call it expeditionary, workforce or work tasks. Yeah. So it's more like outside work. So I was on a project team out there. We supplied water to the base and stuff like that. So we help with all the utilities there. So we make sure people got water. We make sure people have water to shower and shave and all that stuff. Just basic functions for living type stuff. So that's what we take care of.
I feel that, man. So let me ask you something. You a very smart person.
I wouldn't say that.
What is in my opinion, I have high regards for you. That. What is the best advice somebody has ever given you in your life? Whether anything.
In my life?
Yeah.
As far as like advice that I use on the day to day is, just keep learning. Like learn all you can. Learning is the foundation and the fundamentals for, getting where you want to go. Whether it's, running your radio station, like learning a trade, a sport, anything, you have to learn, and you learn, and then you build on what you learn, and then you expand to the areas that interest you more, and then you get more specific, and then you become a subject matter expert. And then once you're the subject matter expert, people will start coming to you for advice and information that they may not know prior, or experiences that you have that they may not have experience. So
Wow.
that's what it is. That's important.
That's crazy because really all it is like 10,000 hours if you really think about it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You just got to keep getting repetition, and I feel like that's what a lot of people don't understand whenever they take, they join something new or they try out like a new hobby or they want to be good at something. Nobody takes time to be bad at something.
No.
You have to be bad in order to be good.
Ooh, and you're a book man, right?
Yeah.
So I got a book for you. Speaking of repetition, I read this book while I was over there. It's called Make It Stick. I don't quite remember what the author's name was, but it kind of sheds how people view like practice and training like that. And they say, a lot of people will tell you, you need to, get your reps up and stuff like that. So yes, but if it's not quality repetitions or if there's no progression, let's say you progressively do the foundational skills, but you never get to the advanced level skills. You've never upped it to the point to where you've learned something new, which is in the same category of your trade. So what it was saying was to fill in the gaps, you need to have a progression. So keep they call it like spaced repetition.
Yeah.
So once you've learned you've got the understanding of these fundamental skills, you go into a little bit more harder, not harder, but necessarily you go into like the next progression. And then as over the course of your studies, you still go back and you train on it a little. You take a little bit of time to go back into it, fill in the gaps where you're missing information. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you're plugging and playing, and then you're going back and getting those reps in. So it may take you less reps to understand the material.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next progression, and those may need more repetitions than the last one. But it's not just all about the reps. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of similar to what David Goggins would be saying. He said it's not better to do a 3-hour workout, like once a week. It's better to go maybe 15 minutes a day, because then you build up muscle memory and you'll be able to have the repetition that keep you going and going, the momentum.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because David Goggins is, I told this person the other day, I was like, David Goggins is like my spirit animal. Like, for real. Like, every time I hear that man talk, I'm like, I get fired. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Because it's crazy how he went from, like, just a fat dude to, like, a Navy SEAL in this.
He was Air Force, right?
He was Air Force?
He was Air Force prior to going into the Navy SEAL training.
Wow.
Because he went through, he's been through, like, so many different Special Forces schools. I want to say he went through the PJ school. And
he went through the PJ?
So the PJ school is actually one of the hardest schools.
Yeah.
In some of the special ops.
For people that don't know, tell them what a PJ is.
It's a pararescue jumpman.
Yeah, and what do they do?
So the pararescue guys are the guys that go in and rescue special ops guys.
Yeah, they jump out of helicopters and they go into the forest and
they have to be trained in. They're also, I believe they're like trained medics as well.
Yeah, you gotta be trained in medic, like an EMT or something, and also be trained in jumping and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they go to jump school and all that. They do it all, and they save lives. So they're tough.
Speaking of books, what's your favorite book
of all time or right now?
Of all time, or the one you recommend most to people?
Shoot, the book that you gave me.
Which one?
The Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah, Think and Grow Rich. That's a good one.
It's a classic because I think as far as like the interpretation, it's easy to understand, break down, and apply to yourself, and that's why I liked it a lot, because people say desire, desire, desire. Okay, but how does desire apply to what I want to do?
Yeah.
Or when it talks about one of my favorite things is when he talks about the power of was it thought?
Yeah.
and he was like, whatever, man, like manifests in his mind, and holds. It was something like that. It was basically like if you have that thought and you hold on to it, you feed it. You are
and
doing
it comes to life.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's really, a lot of people have said that from rappers. They say they rapped about something in a song, and then 2 years later it pops up in their life. Or people who make dream boards, pick a specific house, and 5 years later they're moving.
If you get it visual. So also Eric Thomas talked about it too, but he said it in a different way. He said ignite the dream, because they were talking about like when they say burning. When he said burning desire,
yeah,
that's you igniting your dream. Because if you constantly dream about it, visualize it, and it's in your imagination day in and day out, you're not surprised whenever it manifests itself in reality. They said. There was a story where they were talking about Floyd Mayweather whenever he became was it the WBC or some champion. He wasn't surprised because in his head he was already the champion. He was already beating everybody. He already seen it, so he wasn't even surprised whenever it happened.
Man, and it's crazy because have you heard about? There's basically sports meditation where you'll meditate and you'll sit there, and let's say you're a basketball player, you'll just envision yourself shooting 100 baskets and making them. Mm-hmm. And they actually did a test where they took one group of people, and it was like 50 people that made them shoot baskets for like 30 minutes a day, every day, to see if their jump shot improved. And then they had another 50 people, and they just had to meditate for 30 minutes a day, envision them making a basket, and they actually improved a similar amount. And the meditation people actually improved a little bit more.
They did that also with people learning the piano.
What?
Yeah, because I was into learning the piano for a long time, and I was trying to like learn the keys and stuff, and I ran across that study, and they were talking about mental repetitions is also what I think is important, just as well as the physical, because it's the connection piece, like your memory and your physical aspect. They're connected.
It might even be more important, I feel like, because your mind is what controls your whole body. What's this called? Your center. Yeah. What's crazy is I don't know for people who's out there how they feel about this, but we all have a third eye. It's basically in the middle of our forehead, and you could actually.
It's the seat.
Yeah, you could actually work on yourself on opening it. All you have to do is sit there, meditate, and focus your energy or your attention right where it's at, and it'll start to feel warm. And that's crazy. I remember when I first started doing it, like it would start to feel warm because I was doing it every day, and then like I started getting like kind of small headaches. But it's like the same thing as whenever you work out with a muscle that you haven't worked out forever. Like let's say it's the first day you do leg day back at the gym, your legs are gonna be out of there.
Oh yeah.
But the second time you come back, you might not be as sore. Third time, you're not really gonna be that sore. And it's just like that with the third eye. And whenever I was doing that stuff, magical stuff was happening in my life. I would find like $500 checks in my drawer.
Yo.
Yeah.
$500. Let me.
And that's when when I was struggling. I was like, damn, how am I gonna pay rent? I was like, you know what? Rent's gonna be paid. And boom, $500.
Yeah, man. Actually, our coach. It's funny that you said that about sports meditation. Our coach, before every game, we would have maybe like a 5-minute period where we'd be in there hype a little bit. But right before the game, he would shut off the lights to be like, all right, everybody take like 5 minutes in silence to visualize what you're gonna do today. Yeah. Visualize plays, any mistakes or anything that you think you might make, how you would correct them and stuff like that. Like every game. Yeah. Whether it be like for 5 minutes, if we got there a little bit earlier, it'd be like 10 minutes. We do that. And I think that attributed to a lot of our success, like when we did play football. Well, even Jamal Murray with the Nuggets, he's the reason he was like so calm under pressure and the way he would be so clutch in the fourth quarter. He said when he was young, his dad would make him meditate every day. He would be out in the snow shooting free throws, and when he get done,
he said his dad would make him meditate and just meditate on that for like an hour or something every day. And you can see it now because he's becoming a superstar.
What? Splash.
Yeah, during the bubble, he was dropping 40, 50, 60 points a game, which is not easy to do for the people that's out there.
Hey, 40, 50, NBA, 7-foot shooters. Like, you got all kinds of high-level defenders, and he's getting buckets on them.
Yeah. Just like I get buckets on Mr. Jelly Ankles over here.
I knew he was gonna say that. I knew he was gonna say that. For the record, David has not beat me in basketball.
Oh, that is a lie. I beat you at least a couple times.
See, he can't even come up with a number.
It's because it's been too many for the people out there. Certified bucket dropper right here. I ain't asking about what happened at the field. You don't want to talk about that.
Boy, you was on my team.
We weren't on it. You was on the other team.
And I was dropping bombs on your
You
team.
was throwing bombs, I will say that. Came out there just slaying that hoe. I said, damn, I'm not going to throw no intermediate passes. Nothing short.
Well, because they wanted to run deep. I was trying
Yeah, they was going deep
just wanted
every
to run
play.
deep
I was
every
like,
play.
I'm going to play cornerback on this side. But with that, we about to switch gears. We have a guest coming into the studio. You know, we had a little miscommunication because Arlington has like 3 different stadiums. You're going to be right there. Arlington has like 3 different stadiums, so it's kind of tough.
It does.
To like figure out which one it is, especially since they have the same name, Globe Life Park, Globe Life Field. It's kind of tough. But coming into the studio, I'm gonna let him get set up, so we gonna chit chat a little bit. You know, let him catch his breath. He said he was running. Yeah, and it'd be like that, man. I had a few times today. Shit, we was almost late because I couldn't find my keys. I was like, bro, where's my keys?
And we wholeheartedly searched for a good like 20, 30 minutes.
20, 30 minutes. I was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be late. Because I like to be here, like at 2:30.
Yeah.
30 minutes before the show, like to prep, like to make sure everybody get where they going.
Mm-hmm.
But it is
and
what it is.
And guess where he found them?
Right, first place I looked. That happened yesterday too. We was going to the store or something, and I told my girl, I said, "Damn, I can't find my wallet. Let me search in here. You go search up there," because I had already searched up there.
Teamwork. There we go.
And then whenever I was searching, she said, "Hey, I found it." I was like, "Where?" She said, "The first place I looked." I was like, "Damn."
Oh,
but yeah, man. Without further ado, today in studio, we have a young man who's just big things, motivational speaker, published author, and just man of many means. Mr. Dre Mills, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Still kind of catching my breath a little bit, but
yeah, you good. Just get you some water real quick.
The good thing is, though, man, I started working back out like 3 months ago, and I prepared for this. This is why I've been working out. For this moment right here.
That's the way to go.
As I'm running, I'm just like, all right, I'm not sweating as much now. But it's 40 degrees outside now. That I'm indoors now. Now the sweat's catching up.
People running.
I was telling him I was going to work 6:30 in the morning. And I seen a mom with her 2 kids running. It's dark. It's 35 degrees. I'm over here shivering. And she just work ethic. Mm-hmm. But this is my co-host for today, Mr. Jerry King.
Hello.
Just a man of, an intelligent man. So I wanted to have him here with me. So real quick, tell the people, what you do, and, we'll go on from there.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Dre Mills. Mm-hmm. Some people call me Dre Mills. But I'm a best-selling author. I'm a coach, trainer. Basically, I work with celebrities, influencers, entrepreneurs on how to create the life that you desire, but not just in like business, but we're talking about relationships, your mental health, things like getting rid of anxiety, the things that slow us down in life, the things that has us go left and not go right. So what happens is people come to me either through coaching or through like some of my training seminars. And what happens is I put people through like an experiential process that's designed to radically reshape their psychological patterns and their physiology patterns that basically has them do the things that they do in life. And like I said, it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it for about 6 years now. Sheesh. And we're just growing each and every single day. And working towards taking it to the next level, helping as many people as we possibly can.
So what was the first thing that got you motivated into going into this field?
So I got started when I was about 17 or 18. It was right after high school. At the time, I was like a basketball All-American. Had about 20 Division I scholarships. I had the opportunity to, possibly even go to the NBA, if I continue to play. But what happened is, as I'm going through like the ranking system, I'm getting ranked and all this cool stuff. My senior year in high school, I found out I had about 6 fractures in both of my legs.
Sheesh.
Now, the fractures in my legs at the time, coaches tell you to like work through it. It's just shin splints and things like that.
Yeah.
I went to about 4 different doctors before finally going to the last doctor, who was the doctor for the Dallas Mavericks. And he basically ended up telling me that I was diagnosed with this thing called the dreaded black line. The dreaded black line basically is where I had like legit black poison that was like going throughout my legs that was causing my bones to deteriorate and become weaker than the average athlete playing at the capacity that I was. And, I was very depressed. I felt like I lost everything. I felt like I was going down a deep hole that I couldn't get myself out of. I felt like I lost my identity. I felt like nobody really loved me for me. It was only for what I could do if I continued to play the sport of basketball. But shortly after that, what actually happened is I ended up discovering this girl. She was about 12 years old at the time, and but she was kidnapped, raped, and murdered.
Sheesh.
And for the first time in my entire life, I accessed empathy for another human being that I did not even know. Like, I didn't know anything really much about her, but it was the fact that somebody could take this young girl's life, right? Someone could do something so horrific. It spiritually and emotionally shifted me radically to where I told myself, as I was crying for like about an hour and a half, I said I was going to make a promise that whatever I do for the rest of my life, it would be something to support people specifically, and not having to not only go with what this little girl had went through, but to not have to suffer and experience the pain that she and I and many others around the world are currently experiencing today. And so about 6 months later is when I actually found out I couldn't play basketball anymore.
Sheesh.
So it was as if though the basketball injury wasn't necessarily what emotionally made me want to help people for the rest of my life. It was the doorway, I guess you could say, that kind of opened up the possibility to help people for the rest of my life. And as the injury started to kind of unravel itself, I immediately went into this, what's next? Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I remembered that promise I made 6 months previously before finding out I couldn't play. And I was like, let's see what this is all about, right? Motivational speaker came to our school. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is fun. I ended up getting his contact information. And when I got his contact information, about 4 months later, he came back into town. I said, hey, I want to come with you and speak with you, or just watch you. Like, I just want to be around you. Like, I just want to hang out with you. Like, he's a cool guy. And what happened is he took me to a school with him one day. It was a middle school out in Fort Worth. And I spoke for maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm sure it was terrible. Like, I don't even remember what I really said because it was that long ago. But I spoke for about 5 minutes, and I fell in love. I fell in love with it. I fell in love, not because I didn't even know you could make money doing anything like that, but I fell in love with the possibility of the amount of people that I could possibly help and just support. So that's kind of how, I got started.
Sheesh. And talk about burning desire. Shit, we were just talking about
that.
And that's really burning desire and shit. Just not even knowing if you're going to make any money, but just wanting to learn and like, hey, man, just take me with you. That's passion, motivation. And do you think that translated from like your basketball days is what's carrying you over? And like, because I see you're very driven and you're always, going and getting. Is that like where that came from a little bit? Because as a former athlete.
Yeah. I hate seeing people like suffer. Yeah. Like, I literally hate the idea of someone not thinking that they're not in control of how they feel and the life that they can create. So when I'm out and about and I see people, or when people come to me and they're suffering, they're in pain, they want to become free, they want to escape from all the things that are psychologically holding them back from just really creating the life they desire, that actually has me feel some type of way, because it's like, if I know I have the secret, we could call it, or the formula to making the cake, and someone over here is telling me that, hey, I want to make that same cake, like it seems pretty nice, like that's a nice looking cake. I can't hold back the ingredients. Like I can't hold it back. I feel like that'd be selfish of me. So I think like the one thing that really drives me is that not only do I not want to see other people suffer, but one of my biggest goals in life is I want to die the happiest person alive. Oh, wow. Like I want to die extremely happy. Like how happy can I be before I'm 6 feet under the ground? And if I can
write that down somewhere?
You know, it's like
that's a good one right there.
It's like
that's a good one. Right there.
If I can inspire people, if I can open up the doorway for people to realize that they have the choice to be happy, like they have the choice to create, to be, to do, and have the life they desire. If I can open that door for people every single day, I feel like that just fuels the possibility for me becoming even more happier throughout the rest of my life. So it's like, it's never about the reward of what you can get from helping people. It's not about the success or I mean, yeah, that stuff is nice. Don't get me wrong. Like I would be a fool to say that getting money or getting paid thousands of dollars to coach someone for an hour or to speak for an hour or two, like that's great. But I feel like that is just the result of my love and care for humanity. You know, I feel like the result of what I get that's just because of my love and care. Yeah,
it's the reward for having a good passion, basically. Right. Dang, that's great.
Oh, I have a question.
All right.
What do you think about there's this thing that I seen on Instagram. There's this guy, he runs this company where they actually are trying to build like mental health, like spas for like the Black communities and stuff like that. What do you think about like things like they call it like trauma release or something like that? And how do you think that helps people, you know, get into a better space?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's powerful. I mean, that's beautiful, because at the end of the day, like we all are holding on to something, right? We're all holding on to something, whether it's spiritually, psychologically, or physically. And it's usually things that happened to us in the past. See, what happens is anyone that's gone through any type of trauma, what we don't realize is that it's not specifically the thing that happened to us that causes us to feel like we're traumatized or victimized, but it's usually how we perceive ourselves because of what happened to us. So one of the like things that I do within like some of the training systems I have is not so much as getting people to forget their past or to like just let it go necessarily, like it didn't happen to you. Like if you were, you know, molested at a young age, or if you were abused at one point of your life, or mom and dad weren't in the picture, you know, those are all things that can cause trauma. Even living and growing up in certain neighborhoods causes some form of trauma and oppression. So, but what I share to people is that it's not so much about, yes, you were hurt at one point in your life or someone did something to you, but at the end of the day, we have the choice to really shift how we view ourselves because of what happened. Because ultimately, the only reason why anyone would feel like they were traumatized or victimized is because we're placing some type of form of judgment on self because of what happened. I was molested. That means I may not be good enough. Or maybe it means that I was a fool, or I was bamboozled, or I was tricked, I was gullible, I was dumb. So we place all this judgment on self, not even realizing that everything that we're feeling today as adults that we call a traumatizing event, we're only feeling that because we're holding on to the idea about what happened to us, not so much about the event specifically. So when I ever hear, like you just said, someone having, you know, a trauma release, you know, center for people to go to, I mean, I think that's just beyond powerful, because at the end of the day, we're all holding on to something, but it's all about, are we willing to shift the perception of self to get through that trauma? And the more we practice that, and the more we start to kind of recreate a new narrative about ourselves, we create a new narrative about why it happened to us, what happened to us. I mean, we can sit here all day and go over events that I personally went through, you know, growing up that I had to heal from, but not so much as heal anything physically, but I had to heal psychologically. I had to heal my thoughts, my beliefs, my narratives about myself. When I was able to heal that, that's when my perception and viewpoints of me and my reality around me started to shift with that. So my experiences after that started to become more vibrant, more elegant, more blissful. I no longer felt like I was traumatized or a victim anymore.
And how do you go about, you know, promoting a shift?
What's that?
How do you go about promoting a shift and
promoting the shift? Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it starts with a belief, right? Like it starts with the belief about not only the event that occurred, that happened to you from your past, but it also starts with a belief on self. So if, for an example, let's say that someone hurt you many years ago, or maybe someone did something to you, mom, dad, brother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, husband, wife, doesn't matter. But let's just say someone did something to you and it hurt, right? It made you mad. It hurt your feelings. It really pissed you off. We have to start by taking that event and identifying the distinction between what's factual and what's our opinion about the event. We can also call it our interpretation. We can call it our implications. Like, what are we implying about the event, right? Let's just make something up here. He hit me. Okay. That's the fact. What happens is we imply about him hitting me that he hit me because I'm not enough. He hit me because I'm worthless. New event. I didn't get the job I wanted. Maybe the investor backed out. Told me my business idea isn't good enough. Fact is, I didn't get the investment. What I imply about that is my business is not deserving of money. I knew I wasn't good enough as an entrepreneur. I knew entrepreneurship wasn't for me. I knew mom and dad was right that I need to go back to school. I need to go back to getting a 9-to-5 because it's just not for me. We imply and we create opinions about the event, not even distinguishing the difference between what really happened and what we're creating in our own mind.
Yeah.
So we have to get very clear when it comes to healing from any trauma. We have to start by identifying what really happened and what are we implying happened. Once we can create a distinction in that and separate the two, then is when we can actually start to create a new belief about what really happened to us. Once we create the new belief about what happened, he hit me, didn't get the money, didn't get the investment. Once I'm able to identify that, oh, that's what really happened, then I can create a new belief about that. I didn't get the investment because maybe he's not the one that's supposed to invest in my company. He hit me. Maybe that was meant to happen because I'm supposed to be with a better guy or a better girl. I'm supposed to be with someone that's way more worthy than the person I'm actually with today.
Man.
So if we can start there, we then can control the narrative about that event. That's how we get our power back. That's how we're able to actually revive ourselves from any form of trauma that ever happened to us. Because then at that point, yes, we can't change the fact he hit me. No, we can't change the fact that the investor said no. But what we can do is we can change how we view it, how we feel about it, and how we view ourselves. Once we can do that, that is when we can actually then not go from being a victim, but to being a victor.
Facts.
So let me ask you, how do you feel about speaking with a purpose and like being intentional with your words? Does that play into that, you know, changing your narrative of your story? Because I feel like a lot of people are generally like their biggest enemy, especially how they talk down on themselves or them stories that they have in their mind. How do you feel about, you know, speaking with a purpose?
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, no matter what we do, right? Relationships, business, whatever it is, one of the things that I actually created this new training system called VASE. And within that, one of the things we talk about is actually becoming more intentional with your words and your linguistic patterns. So when we speak, right? Like, let's take this interview for an example. I rushed in here, right? Drank like a sip of water. I had no idea what I don't know what we're gonna talk about. But because I came in here with the intention to add value, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm not even here to talk about me. I think the most I even said about me was the beginning of my story. Other than that, I'm just adding some value to hopefully whoever hears this, right? So it's like the more intentional we can get before actually going into the event, relationship, maybe even a pitch, an investment pitch. Whenever I do investment pitches or whenever I like go and seek new partnership or anything like that with any of the businesses I have, I go in with a very clear intention on what do I want from this person? What do I want to experience from this person? What do I want to get out of this? Do I want, for an example, let's say when it comes to asking for a certain amount of money for an investment, I'm not just going to say, well, we need $100,000 or we need $1 million. Let's get very intentional, right? We may not have to necessarily burn the forest. Maybe we just need to light the match. So instead of asking for the million, let's just ask for 25,000. Maybe, because maybe $1 million is just what sounds nice, what we ideally need. Because I've been there before where I ended up getting a large amount of investments. I really didn't know what I needed the money for. I ended up spending it on things that we really didn't need. Next thing you know, COVID happens, and next thing you know, we're like, everything we spent the money on isn't even like valuable now because we can't even do anything, right? So it's like, so that was something that happened like a couple months ago, right? But those things happen when we lack the intention of doing anything. A relationship, if we just go into the relationship like, I like you, let's be together. It's not that simple. Like, let's be very intentional about what we want to get from this. Like, what do you want to get from me? What can I get from you? How can we come together? All that kind of stuff.
That's very true, because me and my lady, when we first started off, we didn't really have a purpose. Like, I didn't have nothing in my mind of what I wanted. I really was just playing around, and we just happened to end up together. But then we was having a lot of problems, and eventually we sat down and, like, had like a coming to Jesus meeting where we was like, I want to be with you. Like, I want to build. And from that point on, it's just been like incredible. We've been like partners and build. And it really does come down to the intention. And I feel like that's why a lot of relationships fall now, is because a lot of people are like, let's just Netflix and chill. Let's just see what happens.
Right.
Whatever happens.
Right.
And a lot of people are like that about their careers and just life in general. They're like, I'm here. Whatever happens.
Right. Exactly.
Man, honestly, somebody told me the same thing. They were saying, if you can't be the guy that goes with the flow all the time. You have to have direction, or you're gonna, you'll go anywhere. You'll be pushed with the wind, and you'll just go anywhere. But if you take the time, like, that's why they say goal setting is important. Being intentional with your goal setting, so you can actually take the day-to-day steps to go in that direction. So I definitely, that's value to me.
Speaking of goal setting, I'm actually setting my goals today for the year.
Nice.
Getting a month, momentum started on my goals, and it's like a free trial kind of. But I was on Instagram, and I seen that you had a guided meditation. So for people that don't know, what is meditation exactly?
Yeah, that's funny that you even asked this question. I actually, in my notes today this morning, that's funny. I was telling myself, I was like, I need to do a talk somehow on identifying what meditation really is. Right? Like, I swear to you, I put that in my notes today.
Cause we're creating here.
Right. I was laughing because I was like, I don't think a lot of people know like the real intention of meditation. Right?
Yeah.
So this is funny. This is cool. So what happens is we hear a lot of times in the spiritual community, right? Let's meditate. You also hear things, crystals, and you hear, all types of, different things within the spiritual community. I guess that signifies that you're spiritual, whether that's, knowing like the different moon risings or knowing like angel numbers, the list can go on and on, right? Sound bowls, you name it. Meditation is all about listening. It's about listening, and it's about focus. A lot of times you hear people say, clear your mind. It's impossible. We cannot just clear our minds. We are going to think of stuff. It's going to happen, right? But let's take someone that maybe deals with anxiety a lot. Anyone that experiences constant experiences of anxiety, usually that's because we're projecting forward thoughts about the future, and we're projecting things about the future that hasn't happened yet. So we create our own belief narrative about something that hasn't happened. We get anxious, scared, whatever it is. Meditation is great for that. And the reason why is because you have no other choice but to allow yourself to focus your thoughts in a way that serves you rather than that discourages you or causes you to feel anxious. So when meditating, the key is you want to listen and focus, but listen and focus to what? One of the things that I realize is that within like even the spiritual community, a lot of times the word God is taken out of it. A lot of people don't understand that God is not even like just a religious thing. However, I'm not even here to even push beliefs on anybody, but when you take God out of spirituality, you're basically half-stepping spirituality. If you're just going around saying I'm spiritual, I'm not really into the religious thing, and you have no type of connection to God whatsoever, you are literally half practicing your spiritual practice. And that's no different than half practicing for a game. You're going to be on the bench, right? You're not going to go too far. You're not going to get in the game as much. So it's like when meditating, the whole key is you're listening to God. You're listening to God. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, I ended up doing it was like a 5-day water fast where I didn't eat food for about 6 days. I didn't eat food for 6 days. Jeez. Just drank water the whole time.
Man,
right?
It's tough.
And during that time, as I'm fasting, I'm also meditating and I'm praying 3 times a day. So as I'm doing that, during my meditation practice 3 times a day for 6 days, I'm listening, but I'm listening to God. I can't even sit here and tell you the amount, the level of awareness and guidance that I received in 6 days that literally, I can't even explain it. I can't even explain the experience that I got from just listening to God.
Sheesh, that's crazy.
So that's what it's all about. It's all about listening. It's all about gaining clarity, but you're not trying to force anything. You're not really talking. You're not trying to say, well, I want to just listen.
Because that is a big narrative that's out there. People feel like meditation is supposed to be like a bliss bubble, but you're saying you're more just supposed to sit there and acknowledge what comes and just accept it and sit with it.
Right. Be with it, acknowledge it, let it marinate a little bit, and then see why it showed up for you. It is for you to study a little bit and see what was he trying to tell me? Like, what was that for? Why did that show up? Why did that thought show up? And analyze your thoughts afterwards and just kind of sit back, maybe even write them down and see why that showed up for you. And then from there, you can kind of create a narrative about why it showed up for you, but in a way that it serves you.
Dang. So, Board Ops tell me we out of time. So tell the people where they can find you. Tell them about your book. Tell them about everything.
Yeah. You guys can you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, you can find me at Dremillsofficial, or you can add me on Facebook at Dre Mills. Just reach out to me, send me a message, and let's just have a conversation. Let's get to know each other.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming by. We're gonna have to do this again because I feel like this went by in the
enough.
blink of an eye.
It wasn't enough. You
tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at gone_on_business. Yeah, that's a long one, but that's the Instagram or Facebook. Jared King, that's me.
All right.
Or just add me off of David.
Yeah, and I appreciate both of y'all coming in today. It was actually a pretty good show. I got good vibes from here. And this is another episode of Why Dizzy TV. And we are out.
Awesome.